Boruto episode 97, Shikadai's Decision. So this episode, admittedly, I thought was fairly interesting, mostly for what it seems like it could do for the future of Shikadai's character. I like the idea that by the end of the episode, it's like, okay, of course, he doesn't end up being a politician, which I think, much like the other episode with Namida, it was like, okay, this is going to go this way, but ultimately it's just going to go back to what it is, slight difference. Generic kind of storytelling. And in this case, I thought it was more entertaining. Of course, Shikadai in general is a far more relevant character than whatever number team they are. I think it's 15, if I'm not mistaken, based on the promo for this episode, or for the most recent episode. But with this, and I was like, okay, by the end, he decides I'm not only going to use, the Nara clan shadow possession jutsu, but I will also use whatever Tamari's last name is, use the wind jutsu style. And I thought that's actually super cool. I thought that was a really cool idea to allow it for him to have both. It's always great to see characters use techniques that are different than what we've seen before. Everyone really does do the same stuff. Like, the only people that do anything different that are actually like the kids of other characters, admittedly, is probably Sada and technically Boruto. I mean, he does do the Rasengan, and of course he does the shadow clones, but it's like he's at least got some slight differences. He does his bullet stream move a lot, so that seems to be like the move that he goes with the most. And for Sadara, she uses like the base Sharingan, which even with Sasuke, we never actually saw him use it that much outside of really doing it during his big fight with Naruto. As far as what they really use it for, where it's like, okay, you can see stuff before it happens. They use that a bunch with Sadara. And I think I mentioned a long time ago when she first started using her powers, I was like, that's what I love about her having the Sharingan. It's not the, Mangekyo Sharingan. It's not this version or that version. It's not, I can make flames. I can transport dimensions. It's like, I can see something like 2 seconds before it happens, and then I dodge real quick. It's a really simple upgrade, but it's fun to watch that happen and pull off like slight maneuvers in midair. So it's fun to watch her do that. Even though technically we've seen it, we didn't see it nearly as much as we have. And this is the beginning of the series, even though we're almost 100 episodes in. Seeing her use her powers, we've seen it, the base Sharingan at least, more than I feel like we ever really did with Sasuke, where it's like, oh, this actually helped him do this or do that move. It's been like a couple spots here and there, and then once Shippuden kicked in, it was like regular Sharingan is like doesn't even mean anything. So it was cool. It's cool to see that Shikadai is going to go forward, and we'll see him use wind style jutsu as well as shadow strangle or shadow possession jutsu. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully they actually do something with it. Maybe we'll see missions where he just doesn't use the strangle jutsu at all. It'll strictly be wind techniques. Who knows? I doubt it, but it would be great, honestly, if we saw him actually pick up a weapon. Maybe he won't get like a giant fan like Tamari, but it would be really cool if he utilized a weapon to accentuate his abilities, and then he could use it in 2 different ways, because he has a weapon that if he throws it in the sky, harkening back to the old Chunin exams with Shikamaru, where he threw his jacket up in the air to make the shadow, he could have a weapon that allows for him to have a more expanded winjutsu, but also it's like an extra little technique, like, all right, well, if we do need to trap this person, I'll toss this item up in the air. It creates a bunch of little shadows, and then that helps when I switch jutsu up. So they can do something really great with it. That probably won't, admittedly, it probably won't happen for a minute if they decide to actually kind of really go in on that. But I feel like there's a lot of potential with what they could do for a character that has the ability to utilize winjutsu. And if you, like I said, if you mix those 2 things with Tamari, like how she would have the fan, and then of course what you have with Shikamaru's abilities, the Nara clan, mix those 2 things together, and then have Shikadai use an item in some way, shape, or form. I feel like that would be a really cool thing. So I hope they end up doing that. Probably won't be for quite a while, somewhere down the line, but that was my favorite thing about the episode. Other than that, pretty basic. We get to see Shikamaru, we get to see Tamari, we get to see this old dude in the clan who's just like, your father's kind of really the only head of the Nara clan at this point. He's like the figurehead, which is good that he's, of course, the right hand man to the Hokage, but there's other little stuff going on. Like they're supposed to be having like this big meeting, but Tamari's going because she's of course the sister of the Kazekage, but he's not going, Shikamaru, and it's like, you're not representing the clan, is what this old guy's pretty much saying. So it's kind of like he was forcing Shikadai to go into it, so he has to kind of go through the motions and figure out what he wants to do, and ultimately it's like, I gotta fight for myself, but if I fight for myself, I know I can do it for the clan by utilizing every technique that I actually do have. So I was like, that's cool. He learned it from Denki, so it was nice to see Denki pop up. Iwabe was technically in there. He didn't really do much, but Denki like actually had the portion where they go to his family's facility. That's where they were in the beginning of the episode as well. We find out, by the end, but not much really happened. It was just, kind of generic filler episode, but it has at least some decent potential, especially considering Shikadai is a prominent character in the series compared to, Namida, Wasabi, and Sumidi. So we might actually get to see some cool content from his character, but like I said, I still feel like that'll be way, way down the line before they do anything like super cool with it or, anything like that, unfortunately. But the potential's at least there, and I want to have like super high hopes that actually means something, but who knows really. But hopefully that is the case. Ultimately we just have to wait and see what happens. I'm excited to check out the most recent episode. Once again, it has Sumidi, Wasabi, and Namida, so the filler team is coming in. I would have loved to have seen, once again, anything Hyuga related. I would have liked to have seen it if it was just a joint thing, and instead of Konohamaru being like, I'm leading both teams, they just had both characters there, so we get to see Konohamaru, and I can't think of her, Hanabi. We get to see both of them lead their teams together. That would have been way sweeter, because we probably would have got that Hyuga stuff I was looking for from the last time she was in the episode, but unfortunately, that's not the case. She's not leaving the village, but we get to see Konohamaru, so we'll probably see a cool Rasengan, see him do some pretty epic stuff. But excited for the next episode, admittedly. Probably won't end up reviewing it until the newest episode is out, because obviously I'm already like almost 2 full weeks behind with this review in itself. So probably won't end up getting to that until... But I might get to it tomorrow. I'll try to, because I'm actually going to the movies to see Shazam early. So if you guys are interested, I will be doing a review of that super early. But yeah, I'll try to do it before I end up going to the movies tomorrow, and that way I'll actually be caught up for Sunday's episode. But decent episode. I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was like the worst filler episode. It was much like the one before, where I was like, I can pretty much tell this is it's gonna be full circle, and that's exactly what it was. It was a full circle filler episode with the tiniest bit of improvement for the actual character that the episode focused on. It went from I'm gonna do this to I'm gonna do this, right back to I'm actually gonna stick with this. I feel like I liked it more because Shikadai is a far more relevant character, so there's that element to it. Plus the fact that him using both jutsu just seems cool from an action standpoint if they actually follow along with that. So I feel like I ultimately did enjoy it a lot more, because it's like, all right, at least he's prominent. I won't have to wait like 10 episodes to see him pop up, although Team 15 is coming back in the next episode, which is very surprising. But I like it a lot more just because the character's more relevant. But ultimately, as an episode like by itself, it's just like, it's just an okay episode. I didn't hate it, like I said, so that does say something, at least, because I knew it was just going to be a pointless filler. But it's like, well, I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to go full circle. The last episode had the exact same like plot line, technically. At least as far as going full circle, the overall elements was full circle, and realizing just stick to what you already know, just slightly better. But even with that, where it follows the same formula, knowing that it's just going to go full circle, it was still like, all right, didn't hate the episode. So that says something, but I can't say I liked the episode. It was just like, all right, as a filler episode, it was slightly more than serviceable. And I feel like that's totally based on me having all the ideas of like, man, they could do so much stuff with him using both powers. So I feel like that's really what it is. Like, I hyped the episode up mostly based on the fact that there's potential for what they could do down the line if they even really follow through with it. So that's the part we kind of have to wait for, and we just have to wait. I feel like that'll be a long time anyway. So either way, decent episode, nothing big about it. I'll never go back to the episode. There's nothing to go back to. But of course, would love to know what you guys thought about this one. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, least favorite parts about it. And I would love to know what characters would you guys actually like to see transition, within the series. Like if they went from maybe not just specifically being like, instead of being a ninja, I'm going to be a politician. But what if there is a character that was like, I want to be a part of, the Anbu Black Ops? Like we don't really see characters develop into that sort of thing. It's like, okay, Kakashi used to be a part of it. Itachi used to be a part of it. Sai used to be a part of it. So we never see characters grow up and then decide like, I want to be a part of the Anbu Black Ops, which technically, the Anbu's still there, but they've never really been a big thing. Like the biggest time the Anbu mattered was probably through the flashbacks of other cooler characters and Sai referencing them, and then Danzo, because he had like the super secret bad part within the Anbu Black Ops and all the crazy stuff they were doing. So I don't know if it would really be that relevant anyway. And I think Yandere was a part of it as well. But I feel like that would be a cool transition. We see a character, start off as a ninja, and then it's like, instead of them just being a normal ninja, it's like, I specifically want to go into like, Abu Black Ops. I feel like that would be a cool storyline if they did it well. We would just have to see what happens there, because any concept sounds cool, but it's like, what's really going to happen? And that wouldn't be for a while anyway, because none of the characters are, prodigies like that. So that wouldn't happen for a long time anyway, but I feel like that would be cool. But I would love to know how you guys would like to see some characters transition. Maybe they would, I don't know, everything I have doesn't really make sense, because I don't think the characters could even do it. And if they could, it would be years down the line anyway. But like characters leaving the village, stuff like that, I would love to know what ideas you guys could think of as far as like what you think would be a cool transition for a character within the series, where it's like, instead of just going the normal route that we've seen, for like 10 years with Naruto and Shippuden, what would you like to see them do instead? Like, maybe you want to see a certain character quit, probably because you just hate them. I don't know. But I would love to know what you guys would like to see as far as characters transitioning from just being a normal ninja into, something else. What do you think would be cool there? And of course, like I said, definitely want to know what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.